All rise and shout. It's time for What's Trending. Senior day for BYU football, just a few days away as they get set to host Utah Tech. What's Trending, as always, presented by Bodyguards, protection for a life worth living. Learn more at bodyguards.com. Let's hear more from Coach Sitake, who says that outside the group of 13, Jarom, whose eligibility is up, there is an entirely other group that has decided, or has to decide rather, if they're going to make the decision to come back.
We have a bunch of guys that have their degree in the hand and have had it for over a year, and so I think that the decision's got to be theirs, and we can give them all the information, but we'll have a more motivated player in the program if this is what they decide to do, if they decide to come back. And I think there's a lot of good reasons to come back, but this is a private decision that they're going to make with their family and their loved ones, and all we can do is give them the feedback and the information on our end.
All right, Jarom, let's continue with Coach Sitake, who would go on to say that, those guys just need some more time to make that decision, because it's a big one if they want to stay with BYU going into the Big 12 or if they want to move on to greener pastures.
Making their decision if they want to do that or not. And I think the safe bet for me is just to honor everybody, and then they don't have to make a decision this week, so and there's going to be guys that are just probably going to have the benefit of getting 2 senior days, I guess. But I think that way we don't have to have a decision this week, and we didn't have to have a decision last week. They can take their time in making that decision.
Indeed, time, but eventually the time runs out, Jarom, and you got to make the decision ultimately. My question for you is, today, looking forward, other than Jaron Hall and Puka Nacua, which of these guys are BYU going to miss the most the next year going into the Big 12?
Referring to the non-graduating, you're done for sure guys?
For sure, just the group of guys we don't know about.
Yeah, I would say Blake Freeland and Clark Barrington. Those are 2 NFL offensive linemen for sure, and on that left side where they've been so good for BYU this year. That'll be a big loss, although I anticipate Kingsley Suamatia will move from right tackle to left tackle, and hopefully he continues the NFL ways of those positions. We think there are at least 3 NFL linemen currently playing for BYU in the starting lineup right now, which is pretty awesome. But the 3 linebackers really stick out. Max Tooley, Peyton Wilgar, Keenan Peely. Those are guys that have a decision to make, certainly. And what we don't always think about is, well, hey, you have a year or 2 left of eligibility. Surely you're playing, right? Well, some of these guys have been at BYU for 4 or 5 years already. They have
throw in the COVID factor too.
Well, that's exactly why they have, that's why they have the year. This will affect BYU players, by the way, for the next 2 or 3 years. The guys that were freshmen that year that get the extra year, this isn't the last year we're going, well, I don't know if they're coming back. They haven't decided yet. Maybe they've decided, but it's not public, or they want to hear from NFL scouts, or they didn't have a great season, so maybe they do need to come back. Like, for example, Peyton Wilgar, I think, could be a draft pick if he's healthy all year and plays the way that Peyton can play. This year coming out, he's probably not an NFL draft pick, it feels like. Same with Max Tooley and Keenan Peely, right? Undrafted guys with talent who could make rosters. But I would love to see them next year on this team, healthy, motivated, Big 12. These 3 could be and they were the starting, linebackers at the beginning of the year with Ben Bywater, depending on formation. If BYU's in a 3-4, Ben's in there too. Max had a really nice start to the season with 2 pick-6s in the first couple of games. I would love for these 3 to come back in particular. Obviously, Blake and Clark feel like they're probably gone. But and a guy like Jaron Hall and Puka Nacua, obviously, Puka's interesting because Jaron feels like he's gone. Like, okay, he didn't miss a game. He started the whole year. That was the last box to be checked, sort of, for him, right? Oh, can you play a whole year? And granted, we have a couple more games, Knock on wood if you're that superstitious, whatever. But with Puka, it's like, if he was healthy a whole year and had like a 1,200-yard kind of season and 12 touchdowns, feels like a pick. And maybe he's a pick now. But it's hard to know because he missed so many games. Puka is interesting. Like, I hope Puka comes back. I'm guessing he's gone. Because he's just too good. He's just too good. And you don't need a full year of film for NFL scouts to want you, but certainly it helps if you've got certain numbers. But when they look at the film, they're going to see eye-popping stuff.
Oh, he's put together enough on film between what he did last year and now coming on strong at the end of this season that, yeah, there's enough there for people to know that Puka Nacua is an NFL receiver who can make those big-time catches in clutch scenarios. And he's got fantastic feet and finds his toes on the sideline and inbounds. Like, the dude's not just making college catches. He makes NFL catches, right, on a regular basis. He's showing that, getting both of his toes down on a regular basis. The thing that intrigues me the most is a guy like Keenan Peely. He was on the roster in Kalani Sitake's first year.
Pre-mission.
He was 2016 BYU football, around when Jake Oldroyd with the green cleats kicked the game winner in Kalani's first game against Arizona. Is he going to be a part of the roster in 2023? We're talking about 7 years because of COVID and mission and redshirt.
And injuries,
Yeah. I would love for a guy like Keenan Peely to come back, and for that matter, Peyton Wilgar, too. Yeah, I think my biggest question mark in this group of unknown guys is what's BYU going to bring back in the linebacking core next year? Because maybe Max, Peyton, and Keenan all decide that it's just time to move on.
Ben Bywater looks around. It's like, where is everybody?
Yeah, exactly. Like, who's left in the room besides Ben Bywater that's been a regular in the linebacking core? I've already just assumed that Jaron and Puka, Blake and Clark, those guys are gone.
Those four. We've talked about them all year.
Those guys are gone. Yes, all underclassmen, but they're all gone. They're all of them are going to have
underclassmen
good draft stock.
athletically.
Not academically.
But because Blake was here in 19, so he's
graduated.
He's four-year guy.
They're all going to have their degrees. And
most will. Yeah, Blake's 3.5 years in, so we'll see.
So, yeah, my biggest question mark then is the linebacking core. We felt so good about what BYU had as a group of linebackers going into this season.
Starters when healthy.
Yes.
But weren't healthy.
Max Tooley's coming up with his pick 6 against USF. They were really strong against Baylor and holding the Bears to under 3 yards per rush. And then injuries set in and maybe a little bit of the other eye that you use, the ineptitude.
They haven't played great when healthy either.
Right.
That's been tough.
So
and they're capable of much more.
Maybe part of that is a scheme that other teams are figuring out how to play against. And regardless, I just want to know what BYU is going to bring back at linebacker besides Ben Bywater, because after that, it's, what, Fisher Jackson?
And he's kind of a hybrid D-end.
Yeah, exactly.
And he's a walk-on.
Yes,
you know what I mean? Like quality player, but...
Is it Josh Wilson? We saw Josh Wilson, Zach Wilson's little brother earlier this year. Is it Tate Romney coming on? Is it going to be a super young core?
By the way, you might see more Tate Romney the rest of the year because he's redshirting, but now he can play in a couple of games to stay under 4. Michael Daly got hurt. He was a guy BYU was high on. Yeah, Tavita Gagne got hurt. They liked him as a backup, right?
Yeah.
There are other guys, up-and-comers, but not you just love when you feel like, okay, we've seen at least something and it was good. It doesn't mean those guys won't deliver or be good next year, but it's just nice to walk into the known part of that.
Yeah, and what do we know? I feel like as far as a position group goes, that's what I will miss the most for BYU football going into the Big 12 is at least that comfort of, okay, well, we know what those guys are, and they should be able to figure it out. Like, they've played big-time football, but if they're all gone and it's just Ben Bywater, then who after that?
Yes, and offensively on the line, I feel great about whoever BYU's plugging in there. I mentioned Kingsley, a left tackle, but BYU's got some guys that they're excited about in Campbell Barrington and Braden Keim and others on the O-line, which is exciting. One question mark I have as well for the defensive side of the ball is like, okay, Malik Moore redshirts. He comes back. That's great at free safety. D'Lo is bouncing. He was one of BYU's best corners this year, granted banged up at times. Are you good enough in the secondary there? Running back, I would have loved to have seen a Jackson McChesney, just what his career could be. I'd love for him to come back. He's had multiple season-ending injuries now. That's tough. Harris LaChance is the other wild card. Harris has been a quality right guard and at times playing out at right tackle when Kingsley's been banged up. He's a guy I would love to see come back as well because he feels like NFL-ish this or next year. So we'll see. And I like the move by BYU because there's 11 or what is it, 13, 11 that we know they're done with eligibility. It's like, Lopini, you've got 2 doctorates. Thanks for coming to BYU.
He's probably got 3 blankets, too.
Yes, he's got so many blankets. Shout out to Mickey Couture. But all of the juniors / others, as they're calling them, they're seniors academically. COVID, redshirts, blah, blah, blah. It is interesting. This is the first time BYU's been like, listen, that I understand. We don't necessarily know if you're coming back, but let's just honor all of you. So that pregame, listen, for BYUSN game day, Hema only has probably 90 minutes of content he's got to produce now, and then the rest are lower thirds for all these guys. Oh. You know what? That makes it easier on Hema. We're thinking about you, Hema. Yes. I've been there, done that on senior day.
Yeah. And it's not to say that, BYU won't certainly miss Clark Barrington and Blake Freeland on the offensive line, going back to your point on, hey, you're feeling good about what BYU has.
Oh, I'd love to have them back, but they're too good.
Sure, sure. But we feel like BYU has the necessary depth on the offensive line.
At that position only. That's forward. The only position I'm like, sweet, next guy up.
Yes.
And by the way, sometimes people are like, no, don't leave early. Why would you do it? I believe we should want guys to go early and excel in the NFL, because that's one of the greatest recruiting tools that you could possibly have at BYU is. Look at Zach Wilson. Leave and be the number 2 pick. Didn't need him back. Get out of here. Go. Be in the NFL. Rep the Y. Come back and be a part of this for the rest of your life. But then recruits go, oh, I want the 4-star plus guys believe they can make the NFL. The 3-stars do too. They're kind of like, hey, maybe I will, maybe I will. The 4-stars are like, I'm going to be in the NFL, at least have a shot. BYU needs to produce enough NFL guys, and I think they're doing that now the last couple of years, which is exciting, to where recruits go, I can go there and make the league. Because if I'm a D lineman, do I want to go to Utah or BYU? Which is going to put me in the NFL? Right now, BYU needs to do a better job of that position. If I'm a quarterback, though, I want to go to BYU because I've seen Zach Wilson, I've seen Taysom Hill, and now I'm seeing that Jaron Hall is probably going to be a draft pick somewhere around 3 through 6 or whatever. Like certain position, linebacker, go to BYU, you're going to get in the league because the best linebacker in the league is Fred Warner, and Kyle Van Noy sitting there, and others. So it's important that the O-line now established that. We've not had that in a while. BYU used to produce O-linemen on the reg in the NFL. So this is an exciting time where you see kind of what Garrett Tujay and Mike Empey started, and they've continued now with these guys they've recruited 5 and 6 years ago who are going to be in the league.
Yeah, Brady Christensen with the Panthers, James Empey on a practice squad. Now we expect Clark Barrington and Blake Freeland to be drafted into the NFL.
Kingsley the next year.
4, 5, 6, 7 offensive linemen in the league all at the same time together.
BYU, Brady Papinga brought it up first. There are certain positions that BYU can recruit easier than others. Quarterback, BYU's always been able to find a good quality quarterback.
Understandable.
But it's tight ends, linebackers, right? And then it's O-linemen to me. That's the pecking order. Tight ends / linebackers, O-linemen should be the best position that BYU recruits. And then to me, BYU, and I mentioned it a moment ago, BYU needs to get in the D-line game better. BYU needs some NFL D-linemen. Kairos Tonga, that's great. BYU's got the one guy, right? And he's he's dabbled with the 53 now with the Vikings, who are very good. Get back in that game.
Sure.
If you want to, the best way to cover well is have a great defensive line.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what Kalani and E did up at Utah. We have yet to see it down here in year 7. We'll love to see that in the next couple of years. I know they're efforting on getting taller, stronger guys.
Yeah, I mean the front 7, that remains the biggest question mark. Going into this season, it was what's BYU going to be able to do on the defensive line? And that question still remains going into next year.
Yeah.
There are a couple of big-time guys in the pipeline that have been recruited. We'll see if they decide to sign with BYU.
And it takes 2 or 3 years. Even if those guys sign now, it takes 2 or 3 years to make an impact.
Some development, yeah for sure. Yeah. We need to have the conversation later, too, about, because you said, hey, I feel good about the offensive line. Where do the wide receivers stand in that conversation?
Oh, I feel really good.
Okay. Are they right there at the offensive line?
Yeah.
So maybe not the
Hill,
wide receiver O-line. Okay.
Keanu Hill and Chase Roberts, awesome. I'd love to have Gunnar Romney back. He can redshirt this year if he wants. Not sure if he wants to keep playing ball or not, but I would love Gunnar back.